everyone, this video is called Wrapping Up Module 1, and one of the first things that I want to talk to you about is the musculoskeletal research assignment and your topics that you have. So as you can see, here we are on D2L, and if you go over on the left-hand side, you'll see under musculoskeletal research assignment. If you click on that, you're going to come to this page. And if you click right here where it says MSK topic, you'll click on that and then document will come up and you will see your name and your topic. I tried really hard not to duplicate topics, but with a class of 65, that's almost impossible. So please give it a look and find out what topic that you got. And if you have any problem with it, or if you want to talk to me about it, just email me. That's not a problem at all. So we can go through that. I would suggest that you do that soon, simply because we're starting today on our developing question worksheets and things like that, and so you need to have your topic because you need to start researching. Okay, so the other thing that I want to talk about is Module 1. So here in Module 1, you did your reading, and this is the first reading that you have to do for this class, and this article is really one of the first articles that came out that put evidence-based medicine and chiropractic together. As you can see, this is from 1999, so it is definitely one of the first ones. One of the things that I want to talk to you and focus on is right here where it talked about what the different approaches are for evidence-based medicine, and a lot of you picked up on this on your posts and your replies that you talk to people. So it's definitely, being more effective and efficient doctors. So what you're really doing is when you are providing management or treatment of a patient, you're telling them that they can trust you because what you're doing, there is evidence behind it. And so there really does help that relationship between a patient and a doctor when you provide your patients with evidence-based information. It also, with your accountability, and that's a lot to do with insurance, maintain that professional competency, which a lot of you talked about. And we're going to talk about this a little bit more in a few minutes. But a lot of you talked about how to be, lifelong learners. How do you stay on top of things? How is it that you focus on your continuing ed for patient care? And a lot of you were stating that you were excited that faculty were open to feedback here at NYCC because this only makes us better instructors and better doctors. And so one of you or some of you said that, you really wanted to emulate that into your own practice, hear from your patients, hear how you can improve, and continue to be that lifelong learner that we really try to focus and have you work on and start here at NYCC. I also wanted to talk to you about right here, theory and practice. So in this class, we're really going to work heavily on these first three things that they talk about. So the first one is formulate an answerable question to a clinical problem. You're going to hear me and you're going to get sick of it. You're going to hear me and you're going to read on your comments, talk about an answerable question. Make this an answerable question. And probably midway through, you're actually going to realize what an answerable question is. And so when I say, make it answerable, it has to be broad, in order to get relevant information, but you also have to make sure that you use the right keywords, and that's really where our one of our worksheets comes into play, the concept block. Again, you're going to become much more knowledgeable in how to create an answerable question. And with that comes search the medical literature and other sources for finding information pertaining to that question. So that's what I mean. One of you stated that in your discussion post that, you know, when it comes to evidence-based medicine, a lot more goes into it than typing into keywords into a database. And that is exactly what we're going to work on here in this class, is that we're going to figure out what are the different words, what are the hierarchy, how do the databases, how do search engines, how does doctors, how do other people in the medical field use these words, how do they interact with them, how are they interchangeable. So one of the other things that you'll see on the musculoskeletal topic is that, you know, for some people you might have given me a topic and then you'll see a slash and I gave different names for it, and that is going to be very useful to you as we learn how to do something called Boolean logic. And that's when we put terms together. Because one of the things that I'm really going to stress in this class is the way that you use words and the way that I use words and the way that a database editor uses words and the way that the author uses the words or the subject is completely different. And so in this class, we're really going to work on coming up with those different terms, that different terminology that all those different people might use, because that will allow you to find the best information and get a broad understanding of the topic, okay? And assess the validity. We do a lot with evaluating. So again, this goes back to the answerable question. So I'm going to ask you a lot like, well, what is it that you really want to know? What is it that you're really seeking? You know, so an example that I can give is maybe one of my questions is, can chiropractors help with torticollis? So that might be a question, but and you'll see, as I search through the different databases and show you how, I've actually refined that down to, well, can chiropractors help children with torticollis? What kind of techniques are used with children in torticollis and chiropractors? What is the management of it? What different stretching techniques? So it's more than just, can chiropractors help, you know, with torticollis? It becomes so much more. So what you're going to see in a lot of the worksheets is that, okay, you have your initial question, but then I ask you for other questions to come underneath it, and then stop, take a breath and think, what is it that you really want to know? And again, as you find information and as you see what's out there, that question is actually going to be tweaked and it's going to change. So the question that you provide me with on the developing question sheet might not be the actual question that you give me when we do our annotated bibliography, okay? Because by that time, you would have done a plethora of research and you're going to see, well, maybe what's out there is not, maybe what's out there doesn't really align with what your question is. And so you have to alter your question a bit, because when it comes to evidence-based medicine, and unfortunately one of the downfalls of chiropractic is that there isn't as much scholarly research as there can be, and that is slowly, as you know, as time has gone on, that has slowly been increasing, but it is a slow process. So sometimes you just kind of have to tweak your question so that it fits the research that is out there. And again, we're going to talk about this a lot more as we work through the databases and as you work through the different worksheets. Okay, so that is the reading. Just wanted to go over that really quickly with you. One of the other things that since we're talking about the readings, one of the other things that I want to talk to you about is that I will never comment or respond back when it comes to these discussion posts. I kind of use them as the back and forth that we would have in a face-to-face class. I want you guys to create your community and have this discussion, but I definitely go in and I read. And so as I'm reading things, I might take out like a sentence or a few words or something like that, and I put them into a Wordle. And what that Wordle does is that it takes the words that I've copied and pasted in there and that you guys have used a lot, and then it puts it into this fantastic graphic. So for you guys, for your class, and it's interesting because every class is different. I can't use the same Wordle because it's always different. So what I noticed in this class is that you really put a focus on lifelong learning. You really focused on that professionalism. You really focused on, being evidence-based. So you can see here we have, competence. We have staying effective. That was something else that somebody said. Being critical, having information, integrating that information. So it's always very interesting. And what you guys, as a class, what you find to be important and what kind of comes out, and and the communications that you have with each other. So I always find that very interesting. One of the other things I want to talk to you about is, let's go back to D2L. Excuse me. Is you're getting to know, or pardon me, the getting to know you survey. Okay. So I had you complete this, and again, it's anonymous, and so I just kind of go in and kind of figure out how many, what you're doing, what your searching style is, and thankfully, as time has gone on, your searching styles have really coincided with the way that I teach this class. So, we talk a lot about using keywords. Do not use full sentences, and that's something that came out. We also talk about, not just going to Google. You have to use these databases. So we're going to go to EBSCO. We're going to go to Gale. We're going to go to PubMed. You're going to learn how to use the different tools that they have. You're going to learn to use limiters, and what full text and scholarly, and how all of that relates, and again with the key words and the different words that you're going to be adding to your concept block. So here, a lot of you search 48 times a day, which is normal. A lot of you search on the internet or Google, which is also normal. A lot of you say that you get your information just simply because you're curious or you have something to do. Here you said, this is what I really liked, that you searched using keywords. Some of you do use full sentences, but not a lot of you. Most of you use keywords, and those of you that use full sentences, I will break you of, or I'm going to try to break you of that habit. And information literacy, what does it mean to you? Yes, to find information, to understand information, to make sense of information. And again, a lot of you feel confident in your searches, which is good. Over the years, I've been teaching information literacy for 17, 18 years, something like that. Google has gotten better. Their algorithms have gotten better to understand who you are and what exactly you're interested in. So a lot of you do feel confident in your searching results, which is great. But again, the different searching tools that you use on Google, we aren't going to, those don't always apply to the different databases that we have access to. And do you start with a specific question in mind? And most of you said yes, and that's great, because as we go through our different areas, remember we have those 6 areas. The first one is conservative care, then allopathic. Oh, and by the way, allopathic care means medical. So you're going to be looking at conservative ways. And some students have said, well, why don't you just say chiropractic? And I'm like, well, I don't say that because sometimes nutrition, it depends on what your topic is. So sometimes nutrition comes into play. Sometimes PT comes into play. Sometimes, there's meditation or whatever it is that you're looking for. So I try to use the word conservative care. And then I use the word allopathic because I don't want to use medical, because sometimes people associate that with surgeries, right? But that's not always true. Medical can be what prescriptions are they providing? What prescriptions are they taking? How many, so on and so forth. So again, I use those 2 very broad terms, conservative and allopathic. And here you could see the concept block, already coming into play. Those mean different things depending on what your topic is. Okay, so it's good that a lot of you start with a question in mind. And that's really all I had for Module 1, wrapping up Module 1. Please be sure to watch the videos that I have for you and that I email you. Those are very important, and we really do go step by step by step, and I can't stress that enough. We take our time. We think about things, we look into the databases, we see what information is out there, and we really go step by step. If you want to have a Zoom with me, that's fine. We can set that up. That's not a problem. As most of you have seen, I'm pretty attached to my email, so even though we don't have any face-to-face classes, that doesn't mean that we are not in communication with each other, because we definitely are. I am here for you. If you need me, just email me, and I will get back to you. All right, and I look forward to the trimester. Thank you, and you all.